Hey folks, happy Thursday. It's July 18th. Going to dive into a few tickers. Had a request from a POW Group private community member. So going to jump into the CGC chart. We'll take a look at ACB and we'll take a look at Tilray as well. So we did have a nice move on Canopy growth on the NASDAQ today. Just in the last week or so, we're up almost 35%. Kind of similar across the board with most MJ stocks, but we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well here on the daily time frame. We broke to a daily higher high today, but then SPY started daily consolidation, losing the low of yesterday as broader market weakness continues. But we were looking at a daily bear flag target of about 535 and daily oversold territory. And if we take a look at MSOS, the whole sector was showing the same signal, right? Daily bear flag, daily oversold, and then even MSOS off of the low there to the high was up almost 20%. So a name like CGC has a little bit more upside because of the fact that it was beaten down a lot more. And a lot of these MJ names in Canada are sort of similar. And not as big of a market cap as, say a Tilray, so it's easier to move it in terms of percentage. But even Tilray, from the low to the high here, and it was an inverse head and shoulders, it was up about 23%. So again, a little bit lower market cap means it's easier to make the stock go up and see a higher percentage gain. But as of right now, we are topping out. And like I said, SPY did show some weakness again today. We lost the low of yesterday, and then acceleration is picking up here now. So we're at 552. We do have the daily EMA 26 coming into play there at 549, so 550 psychological. So that'll be the next level of support. And then after that, we have a lot of support around 542. But keep in mind, this is just healthy. We just barely started weekly consolidation on the S&P 500, which was the first time in seven weeks, and we have no support down to 516 on the weekly time frame. So EMA 12 is there at 538. So I would expect to pull back probably to around 540 at this point, somewhere around that 542 if we do lose 550. And everybody will be calling for the bull market being over, but I do think that we could see a pretty hefty pullback if we zoom out to the monthly time frame as well. We're nowhere near starting monthly consolidation, so we'd have to lose the low there of last month at 520.92 to start monthly consolidation, and we have monthly support at 492. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came back, formed a monthly higher low over the next couple of months into the elections. Typically, we start to kind of see a sell-off, and then into the end of the year, into an election year. Usually Q3, Q4 are very bullish for the stock market as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see monthly consolidation over the next couple months leading into November, and then into the end of the year, we should start to remain bullish. But as of right now, CGC on the monthly, it's just a monthly higher low forming. So we have our low, high of the bounce. We're scouting a higher low compared to 276, and then we'll look for the higher high to be in a monthly uptrend and join the rest of the MJ sector. And then we are still technically in a monthly downtrend because we still have this lower high, lower low pattern. So we're still bearish at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a little bit more downside. We're still a ways away before we could see this daily bull flag cross, and we still have a few days left of the comment period as well with regards to US rescheduling. So I think we could see I mentioned we could see a little bit more upside into next week just based on the results of that. So maybe we see, one more higher high, but then one more final flush and pullback. If we take a look at CGC on the weekly time frame as well, we're still a ways away before we see a stochastic and MACD bull cross, which again leads me to believe that we could see, maybe a little bit of sideways action, maybe a little bit more upside into the end of this comment period because of the response, maybe the quality of responses, right? Maybe it comes back 95% are in favor. And, I think the last time I checked yesterday was like 33,000 comments. So, maybe we get some media headlines and we get some bullish momentum off of that. But it's likely going to be a little bit before we see those weekly stochastic and MACD cross bullish. So I think, like I said, we could see one more final leg down. We did test the 50 weekly as well at 648. I mentioned there was a lot of support at 648 on CGC. And we also had the 200-day moving average there at 634. So I mentioned that, when we had that daily bear flag target, MSOS was confirming daily bear flags, right? Back here, I mentioned when we confirmed the daily bear flag with a loss of 677, I said, more than likely going to be heading down to that 650, 648 level, as there was a ton of support there with the 50 weekly and the 200-day moving average. And sure enough, we did dip below them just barely, and then we recovered. One thing to note here, though, is we could see a death cross as well here on CGC, the 50 days above the 200-day moving average. If those cross, that's what we refer to as a death cross. So again, I think we could see a little bit more upside here or sideways action. I'm kind of favoring, one more final push after we get the rescheduling comments are over, and then we get some results of that. And then, like I said, with the broader market showing weakness, I think that we could potentially see some downside as a result of the headwinds from that. And then more than likely see a death cross. And again, I'm not expecting MJ to really take the spotlight until after big tech, crypto, AI take a back seat, right? And into the end of the year, we have stablecoin legislation. There's a ton of bullish catalysts with regards to crypto. And I think, MJ could recover as a result of IWM and high risk appetite returning to the sector and returning to the market, and the sector gaining some momentum. But I expect crypto to see more gains and volume. And then, once it enters a bear market, probably at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, then we should start to see MJ kind of take that spotlight and be one of the best performing sectors. But as of right now, still seeing a little bit of concern here on the daily time frame, and it's going to be a couple of weeks, in my opinion, before we see the MACD and the stochastic cross bullish. So like I said, one more potential higher high, and then we could potentially come back down for one more leg down. Wouldn't be surprised if we tested $5.35, $5 on one final shakeout before we start to see some big momentum. And then I think we could see rescheduling actually official in September, October. And then I think Florida's also going to pass adult use in November as well, which would totally ignite the market, right? So we'll take a look at ACB. ACB is pretty similar. So we did have a daily bear flag as well. We had 510 as the target. You can see here was the flag. Here is the measured move, and we actually exceeded that target. We overshot it. So if we go from the low to the high there, we were up about 45%. So again, ACB was even more beaten down and has a smaller market cap, so it's easier to run it, right? But as of right now, this is actually not looking too bad. We do have a daily bull flag that's forming here now. So if we go, we'll just get rid of some of these drawings here. So if we go from our low to the high of the bounce, we actually confirmed a daily uptrend as well. We had our low, high, higher low, and higher high, and it was a perfect daily bull flag continuation pattern, as well as we had a daily uptrend confirming. So we just take our low to the high there, move it out to our 0.32 fib, and it says we could be targeting 777. So that's why I think that, we could see one more final push up, and then I think we could see some broader market weakness. We also came off daily oversold and approaching daily overbought, but nowhere near that yet. And we did have our EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So again, CGC hasn't had its yet. So I think that, the sector could see a little bit more upside, but not a whole lot. Maybe from here we go up another, 5 to 10% on most names. And then we come back down for one more final shakeout and drop to the downside, lower low. And then I think, into September, October, we're really going to start to confirm monthly uptrends across the sector. Speaking of which, ACB is very similar. So we zoom out to the monthly time frame here. You can still see we're still in a monthly downtrend, so it's very identical, pretty much to the CGC chart. And we're just looking for a monthly higher low compared to the low there at 284. So low, high, higher low. Looking to maintain a higher low compared to 284, and then come up, break resistance there at 935, and then it would be monthly uptrend confirmed. And a lot of our names are starting to trend back to their monthly EMA 26s. If we bring up like a name like GTBIF, it actually got above its monthly EMA 26 by, I think, about 30%, right? So ACB, if we just get back to our EMA 26, that'll bring us up to around $22.68. And then CGC, if we get to monthly EMA 26, we'd be at $31.52. Keep in mind that's factoring in post-split, so it's really only, $3.15 from that point on, right? So it's definitely doable into the end of the year here. And again, if we confirm a monthly uptrend, that's going to be massive, considering, CGC, one of those more beaten down names, and we need to see like Tilray, CGC, ACB, OGI is working on it as well. So the more names that confirm monthly uptrends, the better. And if we take a look at ACB here on the weekly time frame, it's a little bit more bullish here. Stochastic is very close to seeing a bull cross, but the MACD still a ways out yet, and we're set to close potentially over this 10-week moving average. So I'd like to see that be the case this week. And we did dip below our 50 weekly there as well. After topping it at the 100 weekly, that's pretty much a common theme. So that should be strong resistance there at 717. And again, if we bring up the ACB chart here, ACB on the daily time frame, we have that daily bull flag target of 777. So if we do see continued follow through, if we break 654, which is resistance now, continue to get that follow through, we do have resistance there at the 100 weekly at 717. And then before we got above it as well, we saw an upper wick and then a huge reversal and breakdown again after the fact. So it's a very, very strong resistance at that point. If we see, 2, preferably 3 weekly candle closes over that 100 weekly, then we could see some massive upside. I'm talking massive bullish news, which would probably be rescheduling and Florida being passed for adult use legalization. And then in terms of the daily time frame on ACB, we're above all of our daily moving averages, which is a positive sign. But again, it's gearing up for a potential death cross here. So we want to see us close above 596 today to remain bullish. We're sitting at 595, so we're right on that 50-day moving average. And if we lose that, that would show very strong resistance. And then we have the 200 moving average down there at 505, which we did lose. So generally not a good sign, and we're coming back up now. And if we don't maintain it as support, it's going to be strong resistance, and we could see a pretty big flush down as a result of a broader market weakness as well. So we need to be watching the S&P 500, we need to be watching IWM, and we need to be watching the entire sectors, right? Healthcare, we need to be watching financial sector, we need to be watching biotech, all QQQ, all of those sectors, because if they're dropping all low at the same time and, crypto's weak, then that's going to increase the odds and selling pressure that we have on these MJ stocks, right? So ACB looking okay here on the short term, but medium term, I think we could see, like I say, that one final pullback. Same thing with Tilray. So Tilray is still working on a monthly uptrend, very similar, but ACB and CGC are pretty much identical. But there are some changes here with regards to Tilray. Tilray is working on a monthly uptrend as well, but at the moment we're starting the monthly bounce. We have resistance coming up at 297, and then the key resistance there at 340. Break 340, and then it's monthly uptrend confirmed. And then EMA 26 sitting at 418. But we're starting to see some signs of life here on Tilray, and we do have earnings coming up on the 29th as well. I'm going to be in PEI during that time, so I'll do my best to get an update out on it. But we're starting the weekly bounce as well. We're still looking for a weekly higher low and higher high, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross there on the weekly time frame. Daily time frame, it is a daily bull flag as well. So we're targeting 205, and that was the inverse head and shoulders. And then the daily bull flag as well, targeting around that 205 level. And we did have a daily bear flag on Tilray that confirmed, and we were targeting about 155. We hit 161 double bottom, so we came very close, within just over 3%. Daily oversold, so that was a nice signal. We had their daily EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, so there was a ton of patterns here that were forming bullishly that we were expecting more upside, right? IHS, the inverse head and shoulders, daily bull flag. We had daily oversold and the daily EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. In terms of the weekly time frame, it's looking stronger. We just had a stochastic bull cross and MACD and a 10-week moving average candle close above it. So this one's definitely standing out as more bullish here on the weekly time frame. So keep in mind too, we were expecting to see some updates with regards to MedMen as well. So we could see something with regards to that. The only secured creditor is Superhero Acquisition Corp, which we know Tilray owns 2/3 of. So we'll see if there's any kind of compensation or any kind of assets acquired by Tilray. It might not happen, but we'll see what happens. We know that CGC has an entry into the U.S. SNDL Organogram's been working on U.S. entry and U.S. expansion ahead of rescheduling, so we would expect some news from Tilray at some point soon. But we did have the 50 weekly there at 204, and that's exactly where we've been topping out, right under that. So again, 100 weekly is where pretty much everything topped out, so that's at 241. If we can see 2, preferably 3 candle closes above that, then I think we'll be heading back up to that 340 in a hurry, confirm that monthly uptrend, and we could start to trend back to our 200 weekly there at 668. In terms of Tilray on the daily time frame, we're actually gearing up for a golden cross. We already had the golden cross and then another death cross, and now we're gearing up for a golden cross. So some names like CGC, ACB could see a little bit more weakness here comparatively. And then I think Tilray is one of the stronger names in Canada. Definitely not the strongest. Just the fact that we're not in a monthly uptrend yet is enough for me to say that it's taking a backseat compared to some of our other names like SNDL. SNDL has a daily bull flag target as well. But yeah, we got a bit of a mixed bag here right now, and I'm just expecting maybe we see a little bit more momentum to the upside, even with the broader market pulling back like the S&P 500. We were continuing to go the opposite direction. Like sometimes we would see MJ go the opposite direction. When SPY would go down, MJ would start to go up a little bit. So we just see that rotation. But again, watch all sectors. Watch QQQ. Watch your IWM. Watch your SPY. Watch your healthcare, financial, you name it. And then if all sectors are dropping to lows of the day, new lows of the day at the same time, that's going to increase the odds that we're going to see headwinds on MJ and not continue to see that rotation, right? So I do think that, like I said, we could see a little bit more upside here in the very short term, and then more than likely going to see some headwinds on the broader market. We should get some updates with regards to the rescheduling comments next week. That could give us that little bit more of a final push to the upside. And then, like I said, I think we could see a pretty big monthly pullback on the S&P 500. It would just be healthy, right? It's been multiple weeks since we had really any weekly consolidation, and that would provide headwinds for the sector. So a little bit more upside, and then probably, maybe 10, 20% correction on MJ. And then I think into the fall, we should see, some sustained upside as a result of names confirming monthly uptrends that have been laggards that haven't done so already. And that would more than likely be rescheduling happening sometime in the fall, and then Florida passing adult use. And then by then, I think the broader market's going to be extremely strong as well. So we should have some nice tailwinds. All right. Hopefully this video was helpful. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you again on the next one.